The CellSaver Elite is shipped in 2 cartons. The larger carton contains the cart components, and the smaller carton contains the CellSaver Elite device. First, open the larger carton, which contains the cart base, the IV poles, the reservoir wear, the touchscreen mount, saline bag hangers, the power cord, 2 hex wrenches, and the removable tubs. With the cart base upright, notice that all 4 wheels have locks that can be used to keep the cart from rolling. The right rear wheel provides anti-static protection. Begin assembly by removing bolts from bottom of both IV poles, then inserting the IV pole with the collar into the left side of the cart, and rotate until it slips completely into the mounting tube. Next, the 2-hook saline hanger with a collar is slid onto the remaining IV pole. This IV pole is then mounted on the right side and rotated until it slips completely into the mounting tube. Ensure that each bolt has a lock washer. The bolts are now inserted through the bottom of the cart into the IV pole. These are tightened using the hex wrench that is also supplied. 4-hook saline hangers are now screwed onto the top of each IV pole. The removable tubs are now placed onto the cart. The reservoir wear can now be mounted on the raised IV pole located on the right side of the device. This is the IV pole without the collar. The plug from the reservoir wear will be connected to the appropriate receptor on the back of the device at a later time. The touchscreen mount is now placed on the IV pole located on the left side of the device. It should be positioned just above the collar. Insert screws and tighten. Begin mounting the CellSaver Elite on the cart by engaging the wheel locks. Ensure both rubber locking pins in the open up position. Using the front and back handles, lift the CellSaver device, ensuring the display cord, located at the back of the device, is being held up and out of the way. Set the device on the cart and slide the device backwards to engage the rear lock mechanism. Then position the front of the device to allow the front rubber locking pins to drop into their mounting holes. Engage the front rubber locking pins. Remove the touchscreen from the storage mount located on the back of the device and place it on the touchscreen mount located on the left IV pole. Caution: the spill collection bag should be left hanging out of the tray at all times. In the event of a blood spill, power off and unplug the device from AC outlet and remove and replace the bag only if found to be contaminated with blood or fluid. Before loading the disposable, you will need to be able to recognize the following components on the CellSaver Elite device. On the back panel of the CellSaver Elite, the following can be found: the power entry module, which is where the power cord is attached and the off-on switch is located. Inside the power entry module is the safety fuse. The touchscreen cable entry. This is where the non-removable cable from the touchscreen enters the device. The equiponential ground terminal connection, which allows the device to be attached to an external ground source if desired. The vacuum connection, which connects the vacuum tubing from the reservoir to the internal suction. The reservoir wear connection. This is where the removable plug from the reservoir wear is attached. And the waste bag wear is located on the left side panel and tells the user when the waste bag is getting full or needs to be replaced. Here we see the cover lock, which is located on the front panel of the device. This locks the cover closed whenever the centrifuge or peristaltic pump is turning. Moving to the deck of the device, we will find the effluent line sensor monitors the quality of wash solution coming from the bowl and automatically extends the wash if necessary. This sensor also regulates the pump to prevent red cell spillage. The header arm, which centers and stabilizes the bowl header. There is a sensor that can detect if the header arm is locked or unlocked. This is the centrifuge system, which contains the centrifuge chuck and holds the bowl during processing. It also contains a leak detector and the dual optics. The valve module, which has valves to open and close the appropriate tubes during processing. It also has a pressure sensor to detect a blocked line, and a sensor to detect that the disposable is loaded. The air detector. The presence of air at a certain time tells the device when the reservoir, the bowl, or the saline bag is empty. The peristaltic pump, with its platen, which moves fluid through the device and measures the processed volumes. The CellSaver Elite touchscreen is where procedure information is shown. Pressure-sensitive buttons, menu selections, and processing data are made available on the display. On the right side of the touchscreen, next to the display, is the stop key. Pressing this button will stop the centrifuge and pump. Along the bottom of the touchscreen is a laser scanner to read barcodes. Next to the laser scanner is a USB port for data collection. On the top of the touchscreen is a status beacon, which will glow green, yellow, or red, indicating that the procedure is going well, attention is needed, or the procedure has been stopped. Before proceeding, ensure that the header arm, valve module cover, and pump platen are fully closed and locked. Turn the CellSaver Elite on and allow it to initialize. While the device is initializing, load the reservoir into the reservoir weigher. Close the clamp on the drain at the bottom of the reservoir. Attach the locking end of the vacuum line to the vacuum connection on the back of the device. Connect the other end to the yellow-capped port on the reservoir. Connect the aspiration portion of the ANA line to blue port on reservoir and attach anticoagulant solution to the anticoagulant line drip chamber. When initialization is complete, the bowl selection screen will appear. Touching the Elite suction button will allow user to select and turn on vacuum type desired. Ensure that the roller clamp is open. The reservoir should now be primed until there is breakthrough of anticoagulant, approximately 150 milliliters. The device can now be used for a collect first procedure. Bowl size does not have to be selected to use the device for the collect first procedure. If desired, users may continue to load disposable. To continue loading the disposable, a bowl size must be selected. The desired bowl size can be easily selected by scanning the barcodes located on the disposable cover. The lot number and expiration date can also be scanned into the device. If desired, the bowl size may be manually selected. The lot numbers and expiration dates can then be manually entered at a later time. Once the bowl size is selected, the device will go to the Ready screen. A message at the bottom of the screen will prompt the user with the message Disposable Loading. Begin loading by opening the cover of the CellSaver Elite. Then unlock and open the header arm, unlock and open the valve module, and finally, open the peristaltic pump platen. Next, open the disposable container, checking for set integrity. Then place in the processing set tub holder on the right side of the device. Help with loading is available at any time by touching the menu button and selecting Help. Locate the reinfusion bag and hang it on one of the saline hooks at the top of the IV pole. Close clamps on the reinfusion bag pigtails and ensure both blue line clamps are open. Pick up the waste bag and bowl together. Then place the bowl in the centrifuge well and allow the waste bag and tubing to hang over the left side of the device. Thread pump tubing around pump and place tubing manifold into position. Floss tubing into the air detector and insert clear tubing along with the color-coded lines into the grooves in the valve module. Close the pump platen, then close and lock the valve cover module. Now, load the bowl by securing it into the centrifuge chuck, then close and lock the header arm. Spin the bowl to ensure smooth, quiet operation. Next, floss the effluent line tubing into the effluent line sensor. Ensure it is touching the bottom of the sensor. Then, hang the waste bag on the waste bag weigher and check to ensure the drain port is securely closed. Close the device cover. Close clamps on the yellow line tubing. Attach saline bag to one or both of the yellow lines. However, only open the clamp where a saline bag is attached. Attach red line to the reservoir drain and open clamp. Device is now ready to begin processing. If suction has not already been turned on, touch the Elite Suction button and select the type of suction desired. Before beginning to process, check the settings group located at the lower right of the screen to ensure the correct protocol is being used. Haemonetics Default is the recommended protocol to use, but another can be set up and selected in the protocol menu section discussed later. If the correct protocol is being used, begin automated processing by touching the Start button. The CellSaver Elite will proceed to and remain in standby mode until there is approximately 800 milliliters of fluid in the reservoir. At that time, the device will automatically prime the tubing and begin processing. If emergency processing is required, it may be initiated at any time during the fill, wash, empty, concentrate, or return phases by touching the emergency button, then touching On. It should be noted that emergency mode is not available when using the 70 milliliter bowl. Emergency processing will continue until turned off by the user or until the reservoir is emptied. CellSaver Elite has no manual mode, but changes can be made manually during processing. Touching the up or down arrows will change the pump speeds. The changes will be shown in the box. During wash, wash volumes and wash progress will be displayed. Touching the wash icon box will bring up a screen where the volume can be raised or lowered for the current bowl. These changes will only last for the bowl being processed. At any time, the various processing modes can be manually initiated or changed by touching the desired button. The buttons for active processes are dark blue, while buttons that are available for manual use are white. Buttons that are not available for selection are gray. Progress during processing, as well as processing volumes, is displayed on the right side of the touch screen. Messages or alerts will be displayed at the bottom of the screen. At the bottom right hand of the screen, a global alarm mute button will continuously display. Touching this button will mute all alarms for the current procedure. A second alarm mute button will appear when appropriate that allows the user to mute the alarm for that single event. The Elite Suction button and the Menu button are present on all processing screens. Touching the Suction button enables the internal suction menu. Touching Smart Suction turns on the proprietary Smart Suction device. Smart Suction is able to continuously adjust suction between -20 millimeters of mercury and -150 millimeters of mercury in order to maintain maximum flow with the lowest suction pressure. Touching Manual turns on the conventional fixed suction that can be adjusted between -50 millimeters of mercury and -250 millimeters of mercury in 50 millimeters of mercury increments. Touching Menu drops down 5 selection choices: Cell Salvage, Protocol Settings, Procedure Records, Sequestration Procedure Complete, and Help. Once any menu option has been chosen, You can return to the Cell Salvage screen by touching the Cell Salvage option in the menu screen. Touching Protocol Settings will take the user to the section where user-defined protocols can be named, set up, and saved. The Settings Group table on the left side of the screen shows the Haemonetics default protocol, plus any user-defined protocols that may have been established. These saved protocols can be selected and activated by users. The active protocol will display in the lower right corner of the procedure screen. Back in the Protocol Settings menu, the Cell Salvage box allows the user to select if they wish to define a different cell salvage protocol or a different sequestration protocol. Ensure that cell salvage or sequestration has been selected. If both choices are visible, the device will not allow any further activity until a choice is made. Here, a user is creating a new cell salvage protocol by selecting Cell Salvage, then the New button. The user then enters a name. The user then highlights the new protocol and touches the Edit key. Parameters may now be highlighted and changed, then saved. Highlighting any protocol in the Settings group and touching the Apply button will activate that selected group. The active group will then appear in the Settings group box on the Cell Salvage screen. As we continue to explore the menu selections, we will find that touching Procedure Records will take the user to where procedure data can be entered and maintained. The data it contains may have been entered automatically by using the barcode scanner, or the data may have been manually entered. Touching the Records menu box allows the user to move among the 4 different areas of the Procedure Records section: Consumables, Procedure, Device, and View Export. The Consumables section contains information about the disposables and solutions used during a procedure. If the barcode scanner was used to capture disposable data, this section may already contain data. This section is where data can also be manually changed or edited. The Procedure section contains information about the procedure, most of which is automatically entered during the procedure. There is some data, such as operator ID, patient ID, surgery type, surgeon name, and comments, which may be manually entered. Here, a surgery type is being entered. The Device section contains information on software versions, device serial numbers, and date of last update. The View Export section is one of the most commonly used sections because it allows the user to access 100 of the previous procedure records. Here, we follow a user selecting a record for export. The USB stick is inserted into the USB port and button to export is pressed. The user may export one procedure or all 100 stored procedures. Moving down the menu selections, the space that is occupied by the Sequestration button has a dual role. Before the start of a procedure, Sequestration is shown, and touching the button will take the user to the Sequestration program. After a procedure has begun, Sequestration is replaced by Procedure Complete. The Procedure Complete button is touched when the user ends the current procedure and begins with a new procedure. When Procedure Complete is selected, the device will first give the user a choice. If Do Not End This Procedure is selected, the device will return to the previous screen. If Save This Procedure and Prepare for a New Procedure is selected, the device will automatically empty the blue line, then takes the user to a Procedure Summary screen. While on the Procedure Summary screen, the user has a couple of additional choices on the menu. The user can choose Resume Procedure, which will take them back to the procedure screen. The user can also choose RBC Bag Air Removal to remove air from the reinfusion bag. To remove air from the reinfusion bag, the user must hold the reinfusion bag upside down while pressing the Start Pump button. The pump will only remove air while the Remove Air button is being held down. Selecting Help will take the user to the Help section menu. The user can search through the Help menu items or use the Search option. Here, a user is viewing a video of the disposable loading sequence. Searches can be performed on keywords or on numeric codes that may be displayed if there is a message during operation. Here, a user is performing a search using a numeric code. Once the user has performed all of the desired manipulations, the device should be powered down and all disposables should be discarded according to facility procedures.